right, there we go. All right, we already got people coming in. Morning, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. We got the stuff that we need to talk about. Let me see here. Where my other... The other thing. Oh, absolutely, Nicole. We are just talking about it right now. Just came out. Just a little bit ago here. But I wanted to see. I know I've got a really good Supreme Court reference, but I'm not sure. Let me see what I can do here. Oh, what's up with Kavanaugh? Yeah, he was questionable. He's been questionable recently. I mean, it's not like he's going to go screaming it like other people might, but yeah, he's definitely been going down the road of the Thomas, which is unfortunately because we don't need any more of those. So, yes. And then, of course, Amy's also our flipper. We don't know necessarily where she's going to fall. I say Amy not out of disrespect, but because she's got two last names. So, Coney Barrett. That's probably better. All right. Oh, my goodness. Where did it go? Oh, I was looking. Oh, man, I can't clean my desk ever again, everybody. All right. We'll just have to wing it. And by wing it, I mean I don't have the proper poster here that lists who hired them and stuff, but that's all right. We'll be all right. We'll make it without that luxury item. If you know, you know. All right, everybody. I'm a mess. I just came in and I was like, "What's this now?" Actually, I think it was Kaya. Kaya's like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And I'm like, "Oh dear, no." Better get that sorted out. All right, go put my hair up. My hair's after me today, with the desire to just take me out. I think he's ready to just be like, "Yep, you're done." So I have an ongoing like West Side Story situation with my hair. And I don't mean to belittle West Side Story, as you all know. Yes. Because that wouldn't be okay. All right, everyone. Seriously, I'm just flying around here. Just a minute. But I wanted to make sure I popped on. Yes, it's still a good morning. Yay. I know for once we needed this one. Oh my gosh, Dave, we really needed it this one. It has been a rough go of it. And I think we're at a point now where as long as the Supreme Court does anything right, where we're all thankful, as opposed to saying that's how it's supposed to be. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to follow the rules and, do all that stuff. But sometimes we don't have that. Bring out the puppets. Oh, man, I tell ya. I'm cleaning my desk. Do not recommend cleaning your desk. And so, hello. This is the only puppet I have right now. All my other puppets are in the other room. And it's very distressing. So I have to use this picture, which isn't as fun. But we'll still do it. We'll make it work somehow. I know, follow last refreshing. Exactly. So, now again, I just printed this. It is hot off my printer. So I'm not, yes. So I've not gone through it yet. So we'll go through for sure the beginning piece, but I've not annotated it out because I just pulled it off my printer. But I think we'll be okay. I'm not sure at this point, Birdman. I mean, you bring up an interesting piece. But now, oh, the psych. Okay, I got you now. You Gen X, aren't you? Thanks for coming for me. I get a check for your Broncos sport. No. All right, everyone. Let's get serious here. Welcome in. This is the Tariffs case, and just to give you a little background, which of course they will also give us, is we have been versus Sandra. Yeah, it's all right. The very first case that was filed against the tariffs was, I think, like, I don't know, I want to say paper, something like that. But it was this learning resources. And the name, it was a place that sells paper goods. That was the very first one. And then we had multiple other ones go through and were taken down by different district judges, right? So just to refresh everybody's memory here while I wait to make sure everyone gets their call out here. All right. So all of our federal courts are here within the, 13 district courts. And we had a very unusual situation going on here with this case. Oh, thank you very much, Jill. Appreciate that. Is that we were in, it's over here. We've got the federal circuit, and we also have a special court. So special court number 13 is the International Trades Court. So that was kind of interesting. A lot of people didn't know we had that, but we do have it. And so this was kind of a jurisdictional question in the beginning. So a couple of them had to get kicked out and then refile in this specialized court, which was just fine. Refunds. I know. See, my problem is, again, I apologize to everybody, but my problem is I've also got a deviated septum. My snoring was so loud last night that I woke myself up like every 5 minutes, and I'm like, who's snoring? And it was me. So I'm a bit froggy this morning. Right. Right. My kids will come in, they're like, we've got all of our fans on and sound canceling headphones, and we can still hear you. Sorry about that. Anyway, special court, the trades court. So we had, again, multiple courts. I'm going to have to try to remember. They'll put it in the opinion that had said the statute here that they're using, which is IEPA, and we spent some time going through that as well, was not appropriate. This was not the appropriate usage of this law, right? So let me make sure I get the abbreviation correct here. So it's IEPA, right? And it has to have some kind of an emergency. I know, I'm sorry. My spelling's terrible. But yes, sticky alert. Most importantly, though, we needed to have some kind of problem going on in the country. Oh, I know, Megan. So because of this, the question was, we don't think we're having this emergency that you're talking about, Mr. Orange. And if we're not, then you're not going to be able to use this statute, which is an emergency statute in a time of war, to take over tariffs. Because tariffs are the job of Congress. There's only an exception if IEPA applies, and it's not looking here. Again, I'm not ready yet, but it's looking like we are not in an emergency, which we all knew, and so it wasn't working right. Now, I'm going to start reading through this here in just a minute. Again, I apologize, I'm a little froggy. I blame the snoring. But when we've got the court saying there's not an emergency here, and we're going to need to relook at that language, we need to hear what they're saying, because the Alien Enemies Act falls under this kind of emergency war powers situation. and several of the other things they've tried to do. I think there's 6 now, 6 emergencies that have been declared in the United States. So and we'll have to read through it, if the court has said no emergency for IEPA, we could possibly look forward and say, well, the other emergencies aren't applicable either. So we'll have to see how it plays out here, but this is pretty major. Thanks, Frank. Yes. All right, I'm just going to write tariffs case here because that's where I'm at. No, I shouldn't do that. Oh, well, okay, I will. Here we go. All right, and then I'll get a different one. Oh my goodness. That's funny. You just see my hair. I know, it's been trying to unalive me. So right now it's like very Fraggle Rock. All right, learning resources. Here we go. Learning resources here. Thank you for your hard work. Your team of attorneys. Hold on. Resources. Mr. Orange here. I'm be careful because if I write the T word out, it attracts the bad people. So we'll do it anyway. We'll just, attempt to not get taken down. So one more thing, if we do go down here, I do have my A Tube of You channel up and running. All right. So if we go down here, we'll go over there, which is no problem. So here we go. This is number 24-1287, and this is SCOTUS's decision. Right? We get everything? I think we got everything that we really needed. And we're going to say here, government loses. There we go. All right. Well, hello. Thank you. Oh, thanks so much. Appreciate that. Yeah, they're a little bit dark, but we enjoy those. Again, I am a bit froggy today. It usually takes me about an hour to warm my voice up, but that was outside of my realm. Only Prince Andrew, Norwegian, Maxwell. They're the ones that the country chose to go after. There's a lot of people that think like, well, why didn't they go after the JE stuff sooner? Like there's a million reasons why prosecutors choose to do what they're doing. There's no way to really know which option it was that they're using it. So, because you can't read minds. But some people are saying if they didn't bring it within a couple years, then they must have known something was wrong with it. Nope, that's not true. And that's not really how we work cases. Merrick Garland was worthless. I'm going to have to hold my opinion of that because we'll see. Do we have to pay back money? Oh, good question. But let's dive right in here, everyone, so we can get in and see what the court's done here. Yes. So let me, again, forgive me, I'm a little froggy. Okay. I think that the charged people the names are going to keep coming internationally for the people who were involved in the JE stuff. So here we go, everyone. Again, I'm not annotated, but I thought it was important to get out here. Here we go. Certiorari before judgment to the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. Here. So here's our syllabus right here. Next, here is the number of the case, when it was argued, which was November, and today it's been released. honestly, they could have taken the whole rest of the time, like another month or two, to put this out because they're kind of jerks about this stuff, right? We had to wait the entire time for a pivotal piece of a case before, and they're like, man, we'll take our time. Like the presidential immunity was like the last day. It was actually after the last day. So it left everybody hanging, right? Because there was no way we could get through the trials because the amount of time that was left, which was barely any. All right. Let's start reading through here again. Where were we? Oh, we're at the very beginning. Good for us. We're gonna sound of music. Yeah, we love that. The question presented is whether the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, also known as IEPA, I don't know if that's how people call it. That's how I call it. Authorizes the president to impose tariffs. Here. Tariffs. And then they're citing the statute. Shortly after taking office, President Orange sought to address two foreign threats. I call him Orange not to be offensive, but because I don't want to get dinged here on the TikTok, and that's happening a lot to people. The influx of illegal DRUGSs from Canada, Mexico, and China. Then he put that part of it into a proclamation. Now, a proclamation versus an executive order, neither one is law, right? We're just going through the process here. They've got two roads they can go down. All right. A Federal Register executive order here, right? And second executive order here. So let me just make sure here. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. I need to get my second pair of glasses. If you know, you know. So large and persistent trade deficits here. Executive Order 14257 here. So we're gonna just use these. The president determined that the DRUG influx had, quote, created a public health crisis, citing the Federal Register, and that the trade deficits had, quote, led to the hollowing out, end quote, of an American manufacturing base and undermined critical supply chains. Okay. The president declared a national emergency as to both threats, deeming them unusual and extraordinary, and invoked his authority under IEPA to respond. So let me highlight this piece. This is a pivotal case here to note that they're saying, look, he's the one that said there was an emergency. We have standards for that emergency. He did not meet those, which means those standards that he has been using in all of these emergency cases, potentially the court could come back again and say, like, no, that's not okay. He imposed tariffs to deal with each threat. As to the rug trafficking tariffs, the Orange imposed 25% duty on most Canadian and Mexican imports and 10% duty on most Chinese imports. Here, as to the trade deficit or reciprocal tariffs, the president imposed a duty on all imports from all trading partners of at least 10%. I guess that was the Penguin Island, I guess. At least 10% with dozens of nations facing higher rates. Since imposing each set of tariffs, the president has issued several increases, reductions, and other modifications. That was another huge problem that we had here. It was like, dude, what are we doing here? How many times are you going to change your mind? Here, petitioners in learning resources and respondents in VOS. So that's the other one that you probably heard of was VOS. That's the one that they argued in front of the Court of Appeals, but they're all together. Filed suit alleging that IEPA does not authorize the reciprocal or DRUG trafficking tariffs. The learning resources plaintiff, two small businesses, sued the United States District Court for District of Columbia. Okay, so they were the ones. I wasn't sure. I thought it was like Le Pen or something, but anyway, these were the first ones that actually filed. that court denied the government's motion to transfer the case to the United States Court of International Trade and granted the plaintiff's motion for preliminary injunction, which of course we were all like, what? Including that IEEPA did not grant the president the power to impose tariffs here. So VOS selections, 5 small businesses, 12 states, sued here in that specialty court. That court granted summary judgment for the plaintiffs, right? Moment to learn. Summary judgment means here's the record, here's the stuff. What do you think, Judge? Can we just be done? Do we have to really call in others, or do you have enough? All right, so the court said yes, summary judgment for the plaintiffs. The government's, wrong. And the Federal Circuit sitting on bonk affirmed in relevant parts. So we have to look at it a couple of times, concluding that IEEPA's grant of authority to, quote, regulate importation, end quote, did not authorize the challenged tariffs, which are unbounded in scope, amount, and duration. So again, it's like we're winning. There's so much winning here. I'm not right. I'm happy about that. So let's just put that regulation importation did not authorize the tariffs, which are unbound in scope, amount, and duration. That's a kick right there. That's like a little knock to the government. Like, dudes, not only are we not covered by IEEPA to let the president do that, but even if we were, the way you said it was way out of line. So you would have had to have rephrased what you were doing because it was so broad. It wouldn't have been allowable anyway. The government filed a petition for certiorari and VOS before judgment. The court granted the petitions and consolidated these cases. So the first one here we have held, again, this isn't annotated, so I might just toss a couple colors in here as we go so it's not overwhelming, but so the court has held IEEPA does not authorize the president to impose tariffs. What? We got to really highlight this one too. I mean, this is just we really needed this from the Supreme Court. Like, I know they don't care, but I care. We really needed them to be like, yeah, our Constitution, you shouldn't do that. All right. So IEEPA does not authorize the president to impose tariffs. That's landmark key language. Now, we're in the syllabus. We're just looking at the overall view. So this language, of course, will be in the opinion itself, but we mustn't forget this is what it was all about. They tried to find a way for the president to come in and declare tariffs. Now, in the past, there has been some tariff shenanigans, and it seems like it's kind of gotten around here and there. But at this point, they're like, no, we're not going to be doing this. The judgment in number 24-1287 is vacated, and the case is remanded with instructions to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction. The judgment in number 25-250 is affirmed. So the lower court's decision that IEEPA taxes tariffs cannot be used like this is affirmed. Hello, breaking the meta. Oh my gosh, everybody. So breaking the meta real quick. He is an incredible creator here. Go and follow him. He's like interviewing 1 million people who are, maybe not 1 million, who are running for office just to give them some time to talk and explain where they're coming from. So give him a follow, everyone. He's great. Great information. I think so too, Ari. But especially right now because he's going through and talking with everyone. So go on and follow him if you have a chance. I'm not sure. Okay, can you pin it or VC? Could you pin the meta. Oh, there we go. Just to make sure people know. But highly, highly recommend. There he is. Highly, highly recommend, especially right now. So, especially DC. Sorry. I'm like, here, random words. Can you pin that? All right, back in it. So, who wrote the decision here? And again, we've got a batch of cases, but the Chief Justice delivered the opinion of the court with respects to parts, and this is important to remember, because there can be multiple parts, of course, parts 1 and 2 -A-1. And then we're going to have, so that's the Chief Justice here, but we're also going to have a dissent coming into play as well by Alito, Thomas, and Kavanaugh, which I'm not surprised. I think after the Kavanaugh stops, I think we know where where Kavanaugh is. So on the spectrum. So right. Here we go. No, so this is the original opinion right down in here. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution specifies that Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. The framers recognized the unique importance of this taxing power, a power which very early includes the power to impose tariffs. Tariffs here. Sorry about that. I was already like, oh, Gibbons. I was too far ahead of myself. Gibbons v. Ogden's being cited for that. And they gave Congress alone access to the pockets of the people. Citing Federalist number 48, the framers did not vest any part of the taxing power in the executive branch. This is so important. So important here. With the executive branch, that's where they're trying to pull the power. And then that's Nicole v. Ames here. Am I getting too grumbly again? Forgive me, everyone. I know if it's early in the morning, which that's what it is right now for me, it's not warmed up yet. But halfway through, it'll be warmed up. Oh, go get it from Venezuela. I'm not sure. I want to go over and knock on that door. You know what I'm saying? All right. Key. All right. Nicole v. Ames. That's an older case too. Here we go. The government thus concedes that the president enjoys no inherent authority to impose tariffs during peacetime. So that's a huge hit too. Basically, that's what gave Roberts the chance to go forward and say you're out. Because the government said, well, yeah, of course we don't have the power to, set out tariffs during peacetime. And then they come back in and they say, but it's not peacetime. But the Supreme Court grabbed what they needed from that sentence in order to go forward. It instead relies exclusively on IEEPA to defend the challenged tariffs. It reads the words, quote, regulate and importation to effect a sweeping delegation of Congress's power to set tariff policy, authorizing the president to impose tariffs of unlimited amounts. Ooh, they're getting upset. And duration on any product from any from any country. Here we go. All right. The court has long expressed a reluctance to read into ambiguous statutory text extraordinary delegations of Congress's powers. And then we've got a citation here. West statutory text, right? We already went there. So it's West Virginia v. EPA. If you want to know another huge case involving environmental law, then that would be Virginia v. EPA. That's a really good case. All right, fast forwarding. In several cases described as involving major questions, the court has reasoned that both separation of power principles and a practical understanding of legislative intent, well, that works here, suggests Congress would not have delegated highly consequential powers through an ambiguous language. All right, again, oh my gosh, everybody, look at this. This is a little gift. This is a little gift we just got here from the Chief Justice. So let's make sure that we pull that language out as well here. The court has reasons that both a separation of powers principles and a practical understanding of legislative intent suggest Congress would not have delegated highly consequential power, meaning the power perhaps that's being used in all of the other emergency statutes, through ambiguous language. And our statutes are a bit ambiguous. So if any of the other emergency cases, right, come in, you're going to want to be quoting that if you're the attorney for the plaintiff. You're going to want to come in and say, look, the language is ambiguous. That means you don't get to define it. It means Congress didn't give the executive that kind of power. And I think that's pretty amazing. So this is a good one here. Right. Oh, yeah. I would say that's definitely a snap there. These considerations apply with particular force, whereas here, the purported delegation involves the core congressional power of the purse. All right. Now, this part, I'm pulling out language that will help the other cases on the closet docket. So if you're like, why is she talking about that? Because I can't help it. Right? So one of the biggest issues we have right now going on, and the most cases that we have going on, is something called impoundments, I believe. Sorry, spelling's terrible. But that's where Congress, right, gives the money to the people. And the president says, no, we're not going to give the money. Not money to them. At least not in this way. Maybe we'll send them, some extra money just for fun. But we're not going to allow them to do that. So we've got, $450 billion worth of money from Congress that should have been delegated out already, and it has not been because of that. So that's why this piece to me really pops out. So the purported delegation involves the core congressional power of the purse. That language will be very helpful later. Congressional practice confirms as much. When Congress has delegated its tariffs power, it's done so in explicit terms and subject to strict limits. Right, so Congress is in charge. Against that backdrop of clear and limited delegations, the government reads IEEPA to give the president power to unilaterally impose unbounded tariffs and change them at will, which again, it seems like he's frowning on that. That view would represent a transformative expansion of the president's authority over tariff policies. Oh, they're slamming down his authority here. It is also telling that in IEEPA's half-century of existence, no president has invoked the statute to impose any tariffs, let alone tariffs of this magnitude and scope. So the Chief Justice does not like how he has used the statute. The lack of historical precedent coupled with the breadth of authority that the president now claims suggests that the tariffs extend beyond the president's legitimate reach. Ooh, all right. That sounds good. Just give me another case here to pull. Any of these cases in here are knocking back the executive branch's power. All right. So they're all going to be helpful because that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a orange fella who is way outside of his purview for his job. So almost every case is saying, hold on, I just forgot it. Is it? Oh, nope, I remember. I just forgot it again. Just a minute. Oh, ultravirus. I spelled it wrong. All right. So ultravirus, It's like in a lot of cases. And that means he's moving outside of the bounds of his position as president and going into the other branches. And that's wrong. You can't do that. The economic and political significance of the authority of the president has asserted likewise provide a reason to hesitate before concluding that Congress meant to confer such authority. Again, that's very helpful. That was the thing that I thought Kavanaugh would be able to grab onto is congressional power, but apparently he did not. I have not gone through and read his dissent yet, but all right. The stakes here dwarf those of other major questions cases. And as in those cases, a reasonable interpreter would not expect Congress to pawn such a big-time policy, call off to another branch. Ooh, that's interesting. And that's some of that language they used too on Biden's attempt to kind of pull back some of those student loans, right? They said that's out of your purview as the president. You're not supposed to be doing that. Then we have another one coming in and being like, it's an emergency because I said so, and I'm keeping all the money. So that's like, hello. There's no exception to the major questions doctrine for emergency statutes, nor does the fact that tariffs implicate foreign affairs render the doctrine inapplicable, right? That was another one of their huge pieces is they're saying, well, it's foreign affairs. Under the Constitution, the president is the one working on foreign affairs. And so the court just said no. So just because it's foreign affairs doesn't mean that the doctrine's inapplicable. The framers gave Congress alone the power to impose tariffs during peacetime. And for more information on that, you can pull up the Welsh case here. And the foreign affairs implications of tariffs do not make it any more likely that Congress would relinquish its tariff power through vague language or without careful limits. Accordingly, the president must point to clear congressional authorization to justify. Yeah, there are a lot of silly arguments. Let's use that word. Let's use the word silly. Again, we're reading the syllabus here before we really get into the case to have some idea of what's going on. All right, so his extraordinary assertion of that power. And then here we go. So now the Chief Justice delivered the opinion of the court with respect to Part 2. So here we go, Part 2. Let me ask everybody, am I too loud in the mic here? I'm closer to the mic than I usually am. I don't have like a pop filter or anything. So I'm just like, oh dear, does it sound like I'm yelling? Let me know. I can move back a little bit. Sounds clear. It's good. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. I appreciate it. Well, I mean, people can kind of turn the volume down if they need to, but I just wanted to put it out there. All right. Thank you, everybody. So here we go. Now we need to take a look at what the Chief Justice held in this next part. And this can happen several times too. Different pieces of the opinion can be agreed with, and then having a concurring opinion. A bit froggy. Yes, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry. Yes, I've not warmed up my vocal cords this morning, and you can tell. All right, here we go. IEPA authorizes the president to investigate, block during the pendency of an investigation, regulate, direct, and compel, nullify, void pendency of an investigation. Prevent or prohibit importation or exportation. So that was a tough one here. Let's reread that one. IEPA authorizes the president to investigate, block during the pendency of an investigation, regulate, direct, and compel, nullify, void, prevent, or prohibit importation or exportation under this statute here, all right? Absent from the lengthy list of specific powers is any mention of tariffs or duties. Had Congress intended to convey the distinct and extraordinary power to impose tariffs, it would have done so expressly, as it consistently has in other tariff statutes. So again, real life works. Hey, you're putting in the time out there too. I'm seeing that. So again, they're saying, look, dude, this is the wrong statute for you to try to use. The power to regulate importation does not fill that void. The term regulate, as ordinarily used, means to fix, establish, or control, to adjust by rule, method, or establish mode, to direct by rule or restriction, to subject to governing principles of law, end quote. I tell you what, the other thing here, everyone, I have not, I know my froggy voice, sorry. I have not seen this many references to dictionaries as I have with the orange fella, just in general. His attorneys, his people, the first section that they'll go to in the law is the definitions. Some people might say, oh, well, this is controversial and so on. No, if they want to bring a piece down or a piece of legislation, a statute down, what they'll do is try to reinvent or reset what definitions are. And that's actually very smart legally to do that, but could have huge negative effects later on. But that's kind of their strategy. Yes. So that's kind of what they do. And it seems like they do that in all the stuff here. Hello, Laura. All right, here we go. Where do we stop? Where's my little mark? I like to make a little mark when I stop so we don't miss anything. But then I didn't. All right, Black's Law Dictionary. The facial breadth of this definition places in stark relief what regulate is not usually thought to include: taxation. Many statutes grant the executive the power to regulate, yet the government cannot identify any statute in which the power to regulate includes the power to tax. And that was huge during oral arguments for those of you that had listened. This idea that, a tariff is a tariff, it's not a tax. That was one of the pieces that the justices were like, hold on a minute, I'm not sure you understand what you read. The court is therefore skeptical that an IEPA and IEPA alone, so they're only dealing with this one right now, Congress hid a delegation of its birthright power to tax within the quotidian power to regulate. Stop that. That's bullcrap. You don't have to say that. All right. That's crazy. You're writing for the people here, judges. So we've got IEPA. It looks like he's got the light on. So we're specific to IEPA here. Thank you so much. VC, thank you. Is my sticker. Here's my sticker. There we go. All right, let's see. While taxes may accomplish regulatory ends, it does not follow that the power to regulate includes the power to tax as a means of regulation. Indeed, when Congress addresses both the power to regulate and the power to tax, it does so separately and expressly. So those are two different things here. That it did not do so here is strong evidence that regulate in IEPA does not include taxation. So we're really getting here into the weeds of the definitions. Because although this administration loves to do that, our Supreme Court's like, hold my beer. Here we go. A contrary reading would enter IEPA partly unconstitutional. IEPA authorizes the president to, quote, regulate importation or exportation, but taxing exports is expressly forbidden by the Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 5. Article 1, of course, is the powers given to Congress. Here, the neighboring words with which regulate is associated also suggest that Congress did not intend for regulate to include the revenue raising power. That was another huge issue here. And one, too, also, everybody, that I will draw your attention to when it comes to the ballroom stuff, right? So the East Wing went down and the ballroom was going to go up, which, good Lord help us all. But there's a problem because they're like, wait a minute, where are you getting your money to do that? And it's like, oh, private donors, they're just giving it to us. No. The president, the executive branch, is not allowed to try to bring in money. They don't get to work for the money that comes into the country. And that's kind of important. That's a big piece here too. So, in neighboring words with which regulate's associated also suggest Congress did not intend for regulate to include the revenue raising power. So the president can't raise money for whatever's. Each of the 9 verbs, this is where we're getting in the weeds again with the definitions, right? Each of the 9 verbs in section 1702A1B authorizes a distinct action a president might take in sanctioning foreign actors or controlling action a president might take in sanctioning foreign actors or controlling are we okay? Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. We're back again. Oh yeah, this is huge. I mean, there's a lot to take from this to apply to the other cases, the other major cases. All right, where was I? All right. And none of the listed authorities included the distinct and extraordinary power to raise revenue, a power which no president has ever found in IEPA. So that power is just not there. So he went for a power grab, and the Supreme Court said no. Yeah, sorry about that. I apologize. I usually have my phone ringer thing turned off, but I'm kind of I'm not doing everything in my usual order this morning. I'm a little bit like, all right, discombobulated. That's all right. All right. So they're saying, forget it. It's never been an IEPA. So several arguments marshaled in response are unpersuasive. First, the contention that IEPA confers the power to impose tariffs because early commentators and the court's cases discuss tariffs in the context of the Commerce Clause. Right here, the Commerce Clause basically is probably the biggest power that Congress has, honestly, answers the wrong question. Oh, you don't want to have that. So they're like using that for their argument, but the justice is saying that's not the right question. The question's not whether tariffs can ever be a means of regulating commerce. It is instead whether Congress, when conferring the power to, quote, regulate importation, gave the president the power to impose tariffs at his sole discretion. And Congress's pattern of usage is plain. When Congress grants the power to impose tariffs, it does so clearly and without careful constraints. And with careful constraints, yeah, we don't want the without. It did neither in IEPA here. I know. Yeah, I got you. How it works in the way. That happens. All right, now here's second. The argument that regulate naturally includes tariffs because the term lies between 2 poles in IEPA compel on the affirmative, and prohibit on the negative end is unavailing. Although tariffs may be less extreme than an outright compulsion or prohibition, it does not follow that tariffs lie on the spectrum between hold on a minute. Tariffs lie on the spectrum between those poles. They are different in kind, not degree, from the other authorities in IEEPA. Tariffs operate directly on domestic importers to raise revenue for the Treasury and are, quote, very clearly a branch of the taxing power, end quote. Thus, they fall outside the spectrum entirely. And third, the argument based on IEEPA's predecessor, the Trading with the Enemy Act, or TWIA. Oh my gosh, there are so many different acts and statutes here that are just being taken over in the wrong way, in my opinion. And the Court of Customs and Patent Appeals decision in U.S. v. Yoshida International Inc. here cannot bear the weight placed on it. A single expressly limited opinion from a specialized intermediate appellate court does not establish a well-settled meaning that the courts can assume Congress incorporated into IEEPA. So it's just not there. The power's just not there. And that's because Congress doesn't like to set out that kind of power. They've never done it before, and they never talked about it. Number fourth, the historical argument based on the court's wartime precedent fails. This is going to be really important for birthright citizenship cases right here, all right? Because those are, hold on. How do I want to put this? So we have the birthright citizenship cases. Oops, I'm thinking of a different one. I'm sorry. When they're just deporting people without any due process. That's the deportation. So let me get that sorted out again. I got too many things here. So birthright citizenship's going to be argued April 1st. All right, this is the one that is very disturbing, of course. And then we have the illegal deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. Sorry to get those two mixed up because we still have people, my understanding is we still have people in El Salvador. All right, so that's important. So when it comes to the AEA, the Alien Enemy Act, that's why this language is going to be helpful. Got to split them apart, everybody. There's just too many going on. The historical argument based on the court's wartime precedent fails. Those precedents are facially inapposite, as all agree the president lacks inherent peacetime authority to impose tariffs. Again, this designation that we have an inherent peacetime going on here. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see in this case. First of all, we're grateful that it's like, well, duh. But then on the next part, when we put this to the side, we need to be able to pull things out like this. The inherent peacetime authority. That's what he's got right now. Could this be used in the other cases? Perhaps. To impose tariffs. And the attenuated chain of inferences from wartime precedents through multiple iterations of TWIA to IEEPA cannot support, much less clearly support, a reading of IEEPA that includes the distinct power to impose tariffs. Ooh, so no power again. There's no power for the tariffs here. We are in an inherent peacetime, right? Now, the Alien Enemies Act for deportations, that only works, again, if we're at war or war is coming into the country. All right, so that's going to be a great quote. And then finally, arguments relying on this court's precedents lack merit. Federal Energy Administration here. This case, what year was this case? Let me take a peek and see. Oh, well, they're too fancy to list a year. Dang. All right, finally, arguments relying on this court's precedents lack merit. bear little on the meaning of IEEPA here. Section 232B of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 contains sweeping discretion, conferring language that IEEPA does not contain, and the explicit reference to duties in Section 232A renders it natural for Section 232B here itself to authorize duties, nor does this case, as Reagan must have been in the 80s here, offer support because that case was exceedingly narrow, did not address the president's power to, quote, regulate, and did not involve tariffs. Oh, no, sorry, everybody, hold on. I got the puzzle. All right, here we go. It's so stressful, so stressful. Oh, we got it. Okay. Okay. There we go. Sorry. There we go. Are we back? No! Are we back again? No. Okay. Am I back, everybody? Things just went awry. I had some things go awry. All right, hold on here a second. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're back. Sorry. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I had a little problem with the puzzle. That's okay. We're gonna be all right. I need to have an assistant with me to do that puzzle. Oh my gosh. Yes, that's right. Not a president. Only Congress can. And that was a really, really big deal. That was a really big deal at the time. I'm having fun with buttons today. I know, Blue Horizon, tell me to stop. I should leave the buttons alone. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay, back into it here. So the Reagan case, right, offers support because that case was exceedingly narrow, which I think a lot of our cases now in front of SCOTUS are going to start seeing that because they're just so vastly harmful. Did not address the president's power to regulate, and it did not involve tariffs at all. So government came in and we're like, hey, we got this really, really strong case out of the Reagan, because we know everybody here loves the Reagan. But then the court's like, wow, that's not even relevant. So nice work. All right, here we go. And he's talking about the other justices. I always worry a little bit about that because he does tend to talk down to the women justices on the bench. So let's just see here what he has to say about that. So Kagan, joined by Sotomayor and Justice Jackson, agreed that IEEPA does not authorize the president to impose tariffs, but concluded that the court need not invoke the major questions doctrine because the ordinary tools of statutory interpretation amply support that result. All right, that part was okay. Justice Jackson would also consult legislative history, in particular the House and the Senate reports that accompanied IEEPA and its predecessor statute, TWIA, to determine that Congress did not intend for IEEPA to authorize the executive or impose tariffs. Oh, that was all right. We went through 2 paragraphs. It wasn't too bad. When we get into the opinion, I can't guarantee any safety from the misogyny. But alas, it was pulled out of the syllabus. We like that. All right, so one more piece here. And then Roberts announced the judgment of the court and delivered the opinion of the court with respects to parts 1, 2A1, and 2B, in which Sotomayor, Kagan, Gorsuch, Barrett, and Jackson joined, and an opinion with respect to parts 2A2 and 3, in which Gorsuch and Barrett joined. Gorsuch and Barrett filed concurring opinions. Kagan filed an opinion concurring in part and concurring in the judgment in which Sotomayor and Jackson joined. Jackson filed an opinion concurring in part and concurring in the judgment. Thomas filed a dissenting opinion. I'm shocked. This is my shocked face, everybody. Kavanaugh filed a dissenting opinion. Thanks for that, Mr. Stop, in which Thomas and Alito joined. Oh, that's my personal take on those justices. All right, everyone, that's the syllabus. So that means it's time to dive into the case. That was just the appetizer. Let's take a quick peek here on our justices. Justice Sotomayor here, and then we have Justice Amy Coney Barrett here, and then Thomas, Justice Gorsuch, Chief Judge Roberts. So let me clarify too. So this fella, Roberts, he was, I believe, George W. Bush appointed him, and then the regular George Bush put him in. And I think the George W. Bush put him in too. So these three conservatives were brought in, I believe, by the Bushes. Now, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Coney Barrett, those are Mr. Orange's. So those are his three. We have Sotomayor down here. Was it Bill Clinton? I think this could have been Bill Clinton. I think she's one of the oldest. She's in the top three, right? For that. So I think she was Bush. And then we have Kagan, and she was Obama. And then Justice Jackson here was a Biden. So was Sotomayor Obama? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I have a really great one set up where it says what year and who did it, but I don't know where's that. I just don't know. Okay, so Obama. So two Obamas here, Kagan and Sotomayor. So that just to give you some idea. Again, Kavanaugh, Alito, Roberts here. So a lot of people get worried about how conservative our court is, and rightfully so, quite frankly. But we have these three who are, and then these three. All right, so we have six, but they go at different levels. Like the most extreme conservative is going to be Thomas, and next up is going to be Alito. So those two are for sure extreme. The next one's not 100% sure because Justice Coney Barrett, she's a flipper. She will flip depending on what's going on. Ginsburg and Breyer, thank you so much. My goodness, appreciate that. Gorsuch, he's sitting in a seat that was not for him. He's in a Merrick seat, actually, because, the dinosaurs decided to wait until an election. So he got put in there, and he's a little bit, I think, he's a little extra cocky because of that. He can be also very misogynist. And then, of course, we had all the problems going on here with Alito, right? We had some people coming in and testifying, and even the appearance of impropriety was not supposed to occur with a chief justice, with a justice for the Supreme Court, but it did anyway. Very conservative. So he was a student of hers because she taught law in Notre Dame, and he was a student. And then these two were in the same high school together. All right, so we're see what I'm saying? They come from the same pot. And then Alito and Thomas will usually pick up Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. That's how Coney Barrett tends to be kind of on the end because she flips a lot. She's a flipper. We don't know which way Roberts is going to go either. Why? Because he's untrustworthy. So there you have it. Just a quick overview of that. Yes. New Big Q. Sorry. New Quartz Cafe. I'm so sorry. Listen, to the cafe fella, lady person. You're right. All right. High school. Really? Oh my gosh. Flipper's okay with this group. Oh, we'll see. I'm not sure 100%. I'm not sure. So the comment I'm looking at, she wants to be a part of the boys club. Now, I would say I'm not really sure. I would say the one thing, newbie cutie. Oh my gosh, that is adorable. Okay, newbie cutie. Right, you're right. Anyway, I'm not sure about that. That's really the piece. She wants to be in the boys' club. I think she has a huge, enormous Catholic behavior quest that she's on. There, do we make it? Do we make it? So she, has a set of rules that she follows very carefully. One of those rules is that, the women, they don't know the stuff. So, is Catholicism a cult? I don't know. I'm not sure about the definitions of religious stuff. I do know they qualify under the tax code, so that's how we qualify religions in this country. If you're a religion or not has to do with if you are in the tax code. The cult of could be. She's not Catholic. What do you mean she's not Catholic? Everybody here's Catholic. Everybody, all right, so he's, I don't know, what is it? Episcopalian? I don't know. We have almost everybody who is a Catholic, except for Miss Jackson here. And then she's a Christian. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see. Great, I got you're funny now, Christy. You're right. She's just a Christian. All right, here we go. I have to think about that one for a while. You got me really good on that one. So here we are, the actual decision itself. And the decision itself is not that long. We've got all the concurrences in here and the dissents and stuff. So I think that's what's really made it that long. Not all Christians are Catholic. Well, she taught at Notre Dame. And so I think that's, important to remember. My constitutional law professor was in law school at Notre Dame. And basically about, maybe 2 weeks into law school, we had to sing the Notre Dame fight song every day. It was then that I knew I had to skip class and teach myself. It's possible. Alito could, both of them, quite frankly, either and both could possibly do it. Here we go, everyone. This is the full decision here. February 20th of 2026. This will be Chief Justice Roberts writing for the majority because he is the most senior ranking. It's based off of seniority here. So here we go. Or what the Chief Justice wants you to do. Oh, you voted for him and now you have regret. All right. Well, what I'd recommend is calling your congressional people and sharing that with them. I think that would be okay if you wanted to. Chief Justice Roberts announced the judgment of the court and delivered the opinion of the court, except as to parts 2A, 2, and 3. So we do have it split. We have Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson are only joining here in these parts. So they're basically saying, like, you got good stuff, but we don't, but not this one. This one's okay. This one's too far. We decide whether the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, authorizes the president to impose tariffs. All right, so here's 1A. Let me just move this over here a little bit. There we go. Shortly after taking office, President Orange sought to address two foreign threats. The first was the influx of illegal DRUGSs from Canada, Mexico, and China. And then here are the proclamations and the orders. The second was large and persistent trade deficits. The president determined that the first threat had created a public health crisis. All right. Right. Okay. I can't talk about C-19, so I'll just put that to the side. They don't like when you talk about that here. And that's manufacturing base and undermine critical supply chains here. So we screwed up the trade because of this emergency. He invoked his authority under IEEPA to respond. Enacted in 1977, IEEPA gives the president economic tools to address significant foreign threats. When acting under IEEPA, the president must identify an, quote, unusual and extraordinary threat, end quote, to American national security, foreign policy, or the economy originating primarily outside of the United States, and he must declare a national emergency. So that's another piece as well. When you pull up any of these executive orders, proclamations, in order for him to get that power unlocked, he himself has to declare there's an emergency. And it's like 2 sentences filed on a piece of paper, you know what I mean? There's not a lot to that. All right, under the National Emergencies Act, which is the other act that needs to be looked at here, he may take the following actions to deal with the threat: investigate, block during the pendency of an investigation, regulate, direct and compel, nullify, void, prevent, or prohibit any acquisition, holding, withholding, use, transfer, withdrawal, transportation, importation, or exportation of, or dealing in the exercising any right, power, or privilege with respect to, or transactions involving any property in which a foreign country or a national thereof has any interest. So this is the law. President Orange declared a national emergency as to both the DRUG trafficking and the trade deficits. So the trade deficits, he qualified, or he said trade deficits were part of this unusual harm towards the country. Okay, which he deemed unusual and extraordinary threats. Again, when you are trying to redefine something with words that don't work, it gets thin. It gets very thin here. So he then imposed tariffs to deal with each threat. As to the drug trafficking tariffs, the president imposed a 25% duty on most Canadian and Mexican imports and 10% duty on most Chinese imports. As to the trade deficit or reciprocal tariffs, the president imposed a duty on all imports from trading partners of at least 10%. Here, they're quoting that federal regulation piece. Dozens of nations faced higher rates, and these tariffs applied notwithstanding any extent trade agreements. Since imposing each set of tariffs, the president has issued several increases and reductions and other modifications. 1 month after imposing the 10% DRUG trafficking tariffs on Chinese goods, he increased the rate to 20%. 1 month later, he removed a statutory exemption for Chinese goods here under $800. Less than a week after imposing the reciprocal tariffs, the president increased the rate on Chinese goods, again, from 34% to 84%. The very next day, he increased the rate further still to 125%. Which again is awful. This brought the total effective tariff rate on most Chinese goods to 145%. The president has also shifted sets of goods into and out of the reciprocal tariff framework, exempting from reciprocals here in this executive order in the Federal Register. When it came to beef, fruits, coffee, tea, spices, and some fertilizers. See how he tries to just give you a little, like, oh, I'll throw you just a little bit of a bone, right? So you don't hate me so much, right? Instead of actually, like, coming into compliance with the law. Here's again the executive order. And he's issued a variety of other adjustments here, and then multiple others. So extending these suspension of heightened reciprocal tariffs is one example here. B, petitioners in learning resources and respondents in VOS selections filed suit, alleging that IEEPA does not authorize the reciprocal or DRUG trafficking tariffs. The learning resources plaintiffs, two small businesses, sued in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. The VOS includes 5 small businesses in 12 states sued in the U.S. Court of International Trade. The government moved to transfer the learning resources case to the SIT. It argued that district court lacked jurisdiction under 28 U.S. Code Section 1581, which gives the SIT exclusive jurisdiction of any civil action commenced against the government that arises out of any law of the United States providing for tariffs or their administration and enforcement. The district court denied that motion and denied that motion and granted the plaintiff's motion for preliminary injunction, including the IEPA, did not grant the president the power to impose tariffs. So that, dude, you can't do the tariffs here. Oh my gosh, everyone. All right. So hopefully everyone now knows the Court of International Trade. I'm hoping that can be the silver lining here in the trauma. Can we grow coffee here? I don't think so. And then I tried to look back and see what the pioneers did, and I was like, I'm not drinking that. Yep, painful. All right, in VOS Selections case, the SIT granted the plaintiff's motion for summary judgments. We talked about that already, right? Motion for summary judgments. Like, hey, judge, we're good to go. Just read this stuff and give us our judgment. Here, the Federal Circuit, sitting en banc, affirmed in relevant part. Here, it first concluded that the SIT had exclusive jurisdiction because the plaintiff's claims arose out of modifications to the harmonized tariff schedule. So in Congress, where tariffs are supposed to be, right, because that's like the thing, they have a harmonized tariff schedule. And my understanding is it's literally like papers on a clipboard stuck in some part of the house. And you go around to the clipboard and you find it and you're like, all right, what's going on? That's how I visualize it. I'm sure it's all very important. But so, yes, they have their own schedule going on. HTSUS. On the merits, it agreed with the SIT that IEPA's grant of authority to regulate importation did not authorize the challenged tariffs, which are unbounded in scope, amount, and duration. So again, to remind you, even if it could have somehow gotten through the courts, that's fine. But the language would have been illegal, right? If you don't specify what you're doing here, they're just going to toss it out. They're like, we don't have time for this. The government filed a motion to expedite and a petition for certiorari in VOS Selections, and the learning resources plaintiffs filed a petition for certiorari before judgment. We granted the motion and petition and consolidated the case. Interesting, they granted that expedition or expedience when they didn't do that for presidential immunity. And that was asked multiple times. And they kept saying, nope, kicking it back. But, all right, footnote number 1 here. We agree with the Federal Circuit that VOS Selections case falls within the exclusive jurisdiction of the SIT. The plaintiff's challenges arise out of modifications to the HTSUS here, whereas here such modifications are made under an act affecting import treatments. They are considered to be statutory provisions of law for all purposes. Thus, the plaintiff's challenges arise out of a law of the United States providing for tariffs. For the same reasons, the United States District Court for the District of Columbia lacked jurisdiction in the learning resources case. That's a lot in a footnote. Number 2, based on 2 words separated by 16 others in Section 1702A1B of IEPA, regulated importation, the president asserts that independent power to impose tariffs on imports from any country of any product at any rate for any amount of time. Those words cannot bear such weight. So he's like, nope. There's two words. Again, everyone, you're going to see this now, this pattern where you're going to see whatever lawsuit they're filing, whatever federal agency, whatever federal worker, whatever money they're withholding, any of those at the 650 lawsuits filed against the administration for federal law violations or constitutional violations, you're going to see them try to go after the definition of words. So that happens a lot. And so now the courts are going to have to respond, which we are seeing, which is just absolutely cracking me up. But just being aware of that. And so the Supreme Court's saying that too here. Look at this. They're like, those words can't bear the weight you're trying to put on them. So regulated importation are not the correct words in this situation. A1, Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution sets forth the powers of the legislative branch. The first clause of that provision specifies that Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. It is no accident that this power appears first. The power to tax was, Alexander Hamilton explained, right? Because you got to do that. You got to bring him in because he wrote so much. A quote, the most important of the authorities, proposed to be conferred upon the Union is this tax. Of course we're talking, right? Everything started because of the Stamp Act, right? Like, we're not going to pay extra for this deck of cards. We're going to war, All right. Good job, Hamilton. Federalist number 33. Gone too soon. It is both a power to destroy in McCullough versus Maryland. Ooh, this case really upset the courts. Really upset the courts here. McCullough v. Maryland. The power to destroy here and a power necessary to the existence and prosperity of a nation. The one great power upon which the whole national fabric is based. And that's out of the Nicole case. Just Security, yes. Oh my gosh, they do such great work. Such great work. And don't forget Democracy Docket too. I'm trying to remind everybody about that one. There's more particulars how they're covering it. But oh my gosh, it's good work. It's good work. Right. All right, so McCullough versus, I know, nobody's like, we don't care what it is, but I'm going to tell you anyway. McCullough versus Maryland is one of those cases that you have to learn at the very beginning of your constitutional law class. And basically, because of the time that it was done in 1819, all right, Maryland had a bank. I believe this all came from this issue. McCullough, also, we've got a state colony person. So Maryland's got this bank and they print their stuff on certain kinds of paper. And the McCulloughs are like, dude, you got to use our paper. And Maryland said, well, this is Maryland, so you can just leave. We're not doing what you want. And then he's like, fine, we'll go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court came back up and said, sorry, Maryland, but you got to comply. And Maryland's like, what are you talking about? In my own place. And so that, again, is a huge issue. That's been in our country since the beginning of time. There you go. This is why I get paid the big bucks right here, everybody. Oh my gosh. Yes. So feel free to pull that historic case up. Ooh, the sticky note's not in the frame. Oh my gosh, everybody. Sorry about that. Right. All right, moving on from McCullough. Them's were the old days. We'll move on here to page 6. So the power to impose tariffs is, quote, very clearly a branch of the taxing power. So Gibbons v. Ogden, I cannot remember if anyone feels like pulling Gibbons v. Ogden up and just giving me the idea of what the case is about. Maybe the first sentence, that'd be great. Can someone help me? I need an assistant. Pull up that Gibbons case for me, or else I'm going to go crazy Let me know what the case was about. And just the first sentence should do it. So, a tariff, after all, is a tax levied on imported goods and services. It's from 1824. Do we need a grown-up? We do. Can we have a grown-up? Is there a grown-up around? Oh my gosh. So that's out of CRS here. The power of, right, exclusive power of interstate commerce goes to federal. Right. But what was the, what were they selling? Oh, were they keeping wheat in a building? Sorry, everyone. One moment, please. Was this where they were keeping a whole bunch of wheat in one building and not giving full numbers out? And so the feds came in and said, you need, it was boats. Ooh. Okay. Steamboats. And was this Louisiana? Hold on, everybody. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, was it in Louisiana? Oh my gosh, everybody, thank you for looking this up. I appreciate it. It was in New York. You hit the common books again. New York and Jersey. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I'm going to assume what happened was priority was different when they handed out who can drive their boats. And so they're like, well, the state said this, the feds said this. And then they came back and said, well, go with what the feds say. Elastic. Yeah. Thanks, Delboy. Got it. Oh my gosh. Wow. The teamwork makes the dream work. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you. All right. So whatever. Ogden case. A tariff, after all, is a tax levied on imported goods and services. So we need to tell some other people about that. I wish other people would recognize that. Monopolies. Yeah. And I was thinking of the slaughterhouse cases out of Louisiana. So I was kind of, in the slaughterhouse world. So I appreciate you telling me, everyone. Here we go. We got tariff policy 2025 and tariffs raise revenue. Out of this case, 1994, the defining feature of a tax. Here, so if you want to know what a tax is versus a tariff, you can look up these cases, all right? And then we'll separate that out for you. Indeed, the framers expected that the government would, for a long time, depend chiefly on tariffs for revenue, right? Because it's a brand new country. The Federalist number 12, because that's what we do now. We have to follow every single one of the Federalist Papers. Right. Number 12 at 93, Hamilton. Little wonder, then, that the first Congress's first exercise of its taxing power and its second enacted law right after the one providing for the new officials to take an oath was a tariff law. That's interesting. Ooh, press conference. Good for him. I'll want to get in on all the deets here after we keep going here, because this is the good stuff. You stand up, he's like, well, we won. Like, no, you did not. Oh my gosh, we may need to start calling parents in here. I'm just too funny for my own good here, everybody. All right, fast forwarding through the Federalists and the first Congress. All right. Next, recognizing the taxing power's unique importance and having just fought a revolution motivated in large part by taxation without representation, the framers gave Congress alone access to the pockets of the people. And that's, again, such an important point. And when we think about that, over $400 billion that is being withheld by the executive branch that's supposed to go out to people and states and stuff, it's really overwhelming, right? Like, that's not his money here. So it's supposed to be in the pockets, and that's going to be Federalist number 48. Ooh, by Madison. Great. So he got both of the big guys here. See also Declaration of Independence. No. Hold on. Why are we looking at the Declaration of Independence? Oh, right. So, okay. Declaration of Independence, when they're going in and talking about the 28, what do we call them? hold on, everybody. It's grievances. It takes me a minute these days. The 28 grievances against the crown, and one of the biggest one was taxing without representation. All right. Do we think the money's still there? Well, I mean, do you have it? Maybe that. Do you have the money? Who's got the money? Where did the money go? All right, moving on. They required all bills for raising revenue to originate in the House of Representatives here under Section 7. And in doing so, they ensured that only the House could propose the supplies requisite for the support of the government, thereby reducing all of the overgrown prerogatives of the other branches. Ouch. It's kind of like dissing the other guys. And then we're at Federalist Paper number 58, Madison. Great job, Chief Justice, bringing in, the history stuff. They did not vest in any part of the taxing power in the executive branch. The whole power of taxation rests with Congress. So this is important here, where we've got our Chief Justice saying you have no part in taxes. The president may not be involved when it comes to taxes. All right. Everybody got that? That's huge. That's really huge. To remember that. Offshore account. Well, don't say it online, Navy vet. Jeepers creepers. Come on, man. Oh, I'm sorry, Navy. I'm cracking myself up. Why? Because, this is crazy town. The government thus concedes, as it must, that the president enjoys no inherent authority to impose tariffs during peacetime. And it does not defend the challenged tariffs as an exercise of the president's war-making powers, which they were trying again. They're like, hey, we're in a war. Like, no, I don't think we are. The United States, after all, is not at... Let's see, this could be the big one, everybody. This could be the big one. At war. We're not at war with every nation in the world. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get that printed out on poster. That's the best line ever. I know, no way, right? Oh my gosh. All right, let's make sure we highlighted it. The United States, after all, is not at war with any nation in the world. Right? And we know that because Congress has not declared war. Right? I know, right? Money was obtained illegally by tariffs. Can it just be applied to... Oh my gosh, no. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. We need a shirts hashtag peacetime. That's the greatest thing ever. Oh my gosh, dreams can come true. All right, yeah, I'm not ready to talk about what's going to happen with the tariff money yet. I'm going to need more Tang for that. All right, here we go. Squirrels everywhere distracting me. The government instead relies exclusively on IEEPA. It reads the words regulated importation to affect a sweeping delegation of Congress's power to set tariff policy, authorizing the president to impose tariffs of unlimited amount and duration on any product from any country. So they're saying, no, you can't do that. You are not allowed to do that with your, power here. That's not allowable. And you cannot rely on IEEPA to give you that power. So that's huge. That's really one of the biggest pieces here. Is the court is coming in, SCOTUS is saying you may not use IEEPA like that. You can't use it like that. So if you want to go into another weird archaic statute and try to dink around with that language in order to do harm, go for it. But IEEPA's out. Number 2, we have long expressed reluctance to read into ambiguous statutory text. Really? Because that's what I thought happened after you overturned Chevron. Extraordinary delegations of Congress's powers. We have the West Virginia EPA case here and Biden v. Nebraska here. I think I just posted today on that case. I can't remember. And I think I put Clarence Thomas in, I put him in a daisy crown. Anyway, I digress again. Sorry. Biden v. Nebraska. For example, we declined to read authorization to waive or modify statutory or regulatory provisions applicable to financial assistance programs as a delegation of power to cancel $430 billion in student loan debt. In West Virginia v. EPA, we declined to read authorization to determine the best system of emissions reduction as a delegation of power to force a nationwide transition away from the use of coal. This is going to be important too. This is going to be relevant to cases that are filed right now by people coming in and saying to the administration, you're way outside of your scope here. National Federation of Independent Business, or OSHA. I don't think we have. Do we have an OSHA still, everybody? I'm just curious. I have not checked today, but I just want to make sure. Do we still have OSHA? I asked the chat. I think we could wait till midterms before we start talking about that. That would be probably the best thing. I believe so. They're limited. Okay. They're limited. So, all right. So we do have OSHA. Yeah, I thought that they had been pulled apart. Who has been on my work site? Well, did you see somebody? Shelly, this is what I'm going to need you to do, okay? Are you going to see him again? You go up and be like, hey, dude, who do you work for? Yeah, no OSHA. All right. I think you're right. I think they just limited it. We're not at your work site. PC. That's funny. Oh my gosh. No, I appreciate it. Oh, scaled down. Everyone's going to have a different experience for sure. So I appreciate the info. All right. Well, OSHA, rest in peace. I think we still have most of it, but I don't know. Per curiam, we declined to read authorization to ensure safe and healthful working conditions, right? Because we don't need to tell places to be safe and healthful. We're not going to do that. As oh my gosh, as a delegation of power to impose a mandate on 84 million Americans. I love how they say it in such a way that it's like they're spitting it at you, right? We decline to read authorization to ensure, quote, safe and healthful working conditions. We're not for that. As a delegation of power to impose this mandate on 84 million Americans. Like, is there no middle ground? Was there no middle ground, everyone, between no herd immunity and people just being jerks, saying like, you can't do anything, you can't tell me what to do? Like, all right. I'm starting to get a little loopy here. I need to note when the loopy's starting. We have described several of these cases as major questions cases. Again, saying they're not going to get involved unless it's a really, really important case here. Right, exactly. Not with a brain. No. All right, everyone. So we've gone through the syllabus. We've gone through a couple of pages here. So let's just take a peek here, because this is like 180 pages. Let's see what they filled it up with. So we've still got here. I will probably go through this case again tonight. I am hoping to go on tonight, so I probably will pick up where we left off here. All right, so we're still right here in the majority opinion. All right, so here we go. Still. Ooh, look at all this case law. Look at all the case law. That's a lot. That's a lot. And every single one of those cases is going to help us with our Alien Enemies Act. Birthright citizenship is a different animal. Major question things. I think the most important thing to remember is that the Supreme Court doesn't want to deal with anything that's not going to, be enormous. That's how I look at it. If there's an overall question that affects everything, then you're going to want to go in and do that. But I could be wrong. And because of that, I'm going to go fact check myself. 1 minute. Because that's what I thought it was. All right, hold on here. Probably tell you this, and it's probably wrong, and I'll be like, no. Oh. All right. Oh my gosh. Actually, I like my definition better. A statutory interpretation in the United States Administrative Law. Oh, right. All right. It looks like we're going to have, for major questions, right, it comes down to what language is Congress using. So is this going to be a big issue with, a huge impact or not? Is this something that can kind of be settled at a lower point? It just keeps coming up in the news. I don't understand it. Sorry. No, you're fine, Paul. No, you're fine. I'm glad I did. It's not that exciting. It just has to do with at what level the reading of the law is. All right. Because if it's ambiguous, then it needs to go. But if it's not, then, they need to go forward in their action. All right. And I think that's kind of that Chevron doctrine, Loper-Bright case situation, because if it's not a major question, then they're going to not deal with it, especially on the shadow docket. All right, here we go, everyone, and I've written a note so I can do a little more research into it, because that's interesting. Kind of. I don't know. We'll see. All right, here we go. Look at this. We've got the concurring opinion of Gorsuch here. So let me just remind you who that guy is. So he is, nope, not Merrick Garland. That's not him. That's Gorsuch. But he's sitting in Merrick's seat. Yep, that's right, he is. Because that's how things work right now. Here we go. Just read the first couple sentences so we can understand where he's coming from. The president claims that Congress delegated to him an extraordinary power in the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the power to impose tariffs on practically any products he wants from any country he chooses in any amounts he selects, applying the major questions doctrine. The principal opinion rejects that argument. I join in full. The Constitution lodges the nation's lawmaking powers to Congress alone, and the major question doctrine safeguards that assignment against executive encroachment. Under the doctrine's terms, the president must identify clear statutory authority for the extraordinary delegation of power he claims. Right, so he doesn't, right. So if he's going to claim that he can do something, he's going to need to set it out clearly, concisely here. And here we go. And as the principal opinion explains, that's a standard he cannot meet. So they're saying you cannot show us enough and did not show us enough to support this kind of an issue. Right. Okay, so he's concurring on and on, just looking at the top, because again, this is just a huge, Gorsuch is a talker, all right? He likes to talk. Holy buckets, Batman. All right, see, this is page 24. Look where we're at now. Page 42. Who's still talking? It's Gorsuch. Gorsuch. I think he truly believes he's like, writing the history of the United States for us. Like back in my day. Like, come on, Gorsuch. No one wants to hear you babble on. I said it. Also came up in Trump v. Hawaii. Yeah, I think the Major Questions Act, from my understanding, the major questions situation means that we're not dealing with every little bit, every little thing that's frustrating Mr. Orange. You need to have an actual question that can be assessed by the court, as opposed to just being like, well, here, we don't know what kind of napkins we're going to buy, blah, blah, blah. All right, there you go. We've got Justice Barrett's concurring opinion here. And again, we're going to run through this. Look at this, Justice Kagan's in here. We didn't have to have 50,000 pages like somebody else. All right, let's just look at Kagan's final paragraph here. So for all of those reasons, straight up statutory construction resolves this case for me. I need no major questions thumb on the interpretive scale. IEPA gives the president significant authority over transactions involving foreign property, including the importation of goods. But in that generous delegation, one power is conspicuously missing. Nothing in IEPA's text, nor anything in its context, enables the president to unilaterally impose tariffs. And needless to say, without statutory authority, the president's tariffs cannot stand. So that's yeah. And then, of course, Justice Jackson. And in my humble opinion, my favorite writer that is on the Supreme Court, my goodness, her writing. I appreciate her so much because we can actually read her writing. Well, here's her conclusion. In short, in these cases, the legislative history provides helpful evidence of what Congress was trying to do in IEPA. Given that evidence, we need not speculate, or worse, step into Congress's shoes and formulate our own views about what powers would be best to delegate to the president for use during an emergency. All right, so she's basically saying, let's back off. When Congress tells us why it has included certain language in a statute, so that's that major question again piece, the limited role of the courts in our democracy system of government as interpreters, not lawmakers, demands that we give effect to the will of the people. All right, there you go. And then Thomas is dissenting. Now, let's take a look at Thomas's conclusion here. Just because of social media posts. Yeah, well, I mean, that's all coming down now. That's all coming down. And also that accountability over the money, because that's been wrongfully taken. We'll see how that goes, though. I know, barely. Here we go. Let's make sure I've got Thomas here. All right. Here's Thomas. The principal opinion bases its decision on the major question doctrine. In some cases, the court has used the major questions doctrine as a canon of statutory interpretation because delegations of major powers are unlikely to be settled. It just makes me so mad that they're coming in, pulling this stuff after they've done the Loper Bright case. Like, don't come and tell me that when you said specifically it should be the court's job to clarify all of this crap. Anger bubbling. Here we go. Over here. Right. So then we've got this Whitman case, also Biden v. Nebraska, which is huge. In other cases, the court has used it to avoid what would have been originally understood as an unconstitutional delegation of legislative power. In today's case, neither the statutory text nor the Constitution provide a basis for ruling against the president. I respectfully dissent. So, this is some bullshit, in case you're wondering, like, what's that? It's the bullshit, all right? And Thomas has a lot of it here. basically his whole piece is going to be, well, I think if we twist this and turn that, meh. But either way, no matter what happens, we need to let the president do whatever the president wants to do. That's what his wife told him to say. No, I can't deal with these nutters. All right, hold on. This is a huge case, man. This is enormous. Yeah, so if you're ever interested, I say my comments based off of fact. You can go and watch Ginny Thomas being deposed about 2020 and talking about what her role was, which wasn't that small. So that's still up and running if you want to check that out. And that's what we're still at Kavanaugh again. We're still at Kavanaugh. So look at this. I mean, the ladies are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the fellas are like, hold on, I just want to go blah, 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 blah. Like, geez Louise. This has got to be like 50 pages back here. No, 62 pages. All right. Here we go. Here's Kavanaugh's summary. The tariffs at issue here may or may not be wise policy, but as a matter of text, history, and precedent, they are clearly lawful. I respectfully dissent. So I will be going back through his dissent because his dissent puts out a lot of little, what do we call them, Easter eggs, little gems in there where you can see where the next group of people that they're going after sometimes is put into his dissents. So, by the words, oh my gosh, that's so true. I should go count Gorsuch. Gorsuch makes me mad. Gorsuch had a lot of potential. I felt like he could be a decent justice. And then I listened to him during oral arguments, try to discredit the women on the bench like John Marshall likes to do. And I lost all respect for him at that point. So, and he's not gotten any better. So I think I made a good call. He was hoping for the $2,000. I know. All right. So I kind of sped through this, but in the end, basically they're saying that, again, IEEPA does not cover the tariffs this way. Congress covers tariffs. Major question, what did the law look and see? Is it clear? Is it understandable or not? Do we need to go back and use some historical documents like the Federalist Papers like 5 times in order to figure this stuff out? So that's the point of the case. No tariffs under IEEPA because it's unconstitutional. Write a dissenting opinion. I didn't see that. But I can't guarantee. Maybe you did. Hold on a minute, everybody. Hold on. 1 second, please. Oh my gosh. Are we missing it? Okay, I don't think I see it. Right. Well, I think they wrote their own dissenting, but I didn't think Alito wrote. Yeah. He kind of wrote his name with the other ones. Can Trump rebrand them as licensing fees? Well, he can try. He can call them that. Doesn't mean it's legal, though. I think we're learning that a lot. All right. Now, this is all the immigration stuff. Hold on a second. I'm just looking at the papers I pulled. Ooh, this is a really good one, too. Okay, this is another one. I'll have to do a live on this one, everyone. Woo! This is actually where we've got some contempt issues going on. Huge issues. Probably heard about it. And so the government had to put together... They were court ordered to put together all of the violations of the court orders that they did. And they did. Here's all the violations the government did against the court's decision. It's so terrible. This would be This is career breaking right here. Anyway, that's another day. I digress. All right, what goes from here? You're done as far as courts, right? So they will say, and I think it was just here on this first page here. Hold on, let me see real quick. Oh, oh, it's over here. Sorry, it's hiding. My glass. I'm gonna need to go rest for a little bit after this. I think my brain's like, what? This is crazy town. Here we go. Right here. It should be in the beginning, right at the end. At the beginning, at the end. All right. So number 6. Here we go. So the requirements, let me get my pen back out. Requirements here, they lack inherent. So finally, arguments here are not going to work. So Jackson, Kagan, Sotomayor does not authorize the president to do that. Fair enough. Justice Jackson's is here, announced the judgment of the court and delivered the opinion of the court. When it came to these here, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Concurring in the judgment. Dissenting, I don't see it. Just a minute. I'm fading like the sunshine. Let's see. Maybe it's at the very beginning. Maybe I was right. Maybe I need to. Congressional power. Let's see here. Oh, here's one. Here, let's look at this one. Okay. All right. Oh, here's the beginning. Blah, 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 blah. And tariffs, that's tariffs, and that's wrong. Here, regulate. It does not. Okay. Okay, well, all right. The judgments, here it is. It's because I hid it under one of my highlighters. Here we go. The judgment in this case is vacated and the case is remanded with instructions to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction. The judgment in number 25-250 is affirmed. So we also have down here, because we combine cases, they're saying this one also is vacated and remanded. And so where the lower courts had said that it was unconstitutional, because that's it. They came in and they said it was unconstitutional because you can't use IEPA like that. So for the courts that said you can't use it, they're affirming. For the courts that said you could use it, we think you have that power, which there were a couple, they're reversing and they're saying, first of all, dismiss for lack of jurisdiction first. And then if you had disagreed and you had wanted the taxes or the tariffs to work, then you would have to, that one would be dismissed as well. I'm losing it, everybody. I'm losing it. All right, so let's just make sure I said that right. Okay, we've got a vacated opinion. All right, we're vacated, remanded for dismissal for lack of jurisdiction. And then the judgments, all right, so we've got one that's been vacated. We've got another one that has been affirmed, right? So these are 2 cases. And then we have a third case here, vacated and remanded. So vacate, remand, and then one more case. So here's our 4th one, which has been affirmed. All right, so the first case, they're saying we are vacating and dismissing with instructions for that court because of jurisdictional questions. The second case has been affirmed, where they held just outright that IEPA doesn't give you this power. So that's been affirmed. The third case, they're saying we're going to vacate that So that third case is vacated and remanded. So there must have been a finding that it was okay. And the court's like, no. And then number 4, the fourth case is affirmed. And they're like, you're good to go. So this third number case will have to go back and it's been vacated. So they're going to have to take care of that. And then the first one, vacated, dismissed, and that gets sent back down. All right. Does that help? Did I do a better job? There's 4 cases. They all have different roads. They're going to go down. Right. All right, everybody. The tang's wearing off. So I'm going to have to let you go and refill my tang supply. All right, so this was, again, hot off the presses. I think it was a good decision. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it was a good decision. IEPA says what IEPA says, and, that's what it says. So we're not dealing with a major question, in my humble opinion. Go look that one up, right? So I think it was good. The other thing, too, to keep in mind, everyone, so we've got this one, and this one, is that we still have a lot out there, and we still have a lot of decisions. The fact that this came back this soon, I think shows how everybody was kind of on board with everything, except for, the dissenters. So this is a good sign that this one came out today. I think also the decision was good, and they set a lot of things up saying there's no emergency, there's no war being done here. None of those things that you're relying on in order to do stuff that you can't do normally are not present. And any of our other lawsuits involving these emergency powers, right? And I think one is saying the emergency powers apply, or an invasion applies to immigration. No, that's not how that works. He's talking, right? No, no. Oh, they're people. They're very interesting. He just said that the other 6 Supreme Court justices are a disgrace to the nation. Oh, is that Thomas? Because I think you haven't lived your life until Thomas has insulted you, especially if you're a woman. So there you go. Look at that. You can move to the next part of your life. Anyway. All right, I gotta close the gate on this. They're being congratulated. Okay, Ken, I gotta go look in to see what's going on here. Dartboard worthy. Oh, of course. And I might get my other puppets out. Wait, do I have another puppet? Nope, just so to my heart again. Sorry, she's the only one I have. Well, you're welcome, everybody. I didn't have an adult in the room during this particular live. I think we needed to have a little bit of fun because the world's gone crazy. So take care, and I will be back again soon. I might go through this again tonight if I've got the energy to kind of go further. We can go a little further. I think, too, it's important for us to read the conclusions, or more than just the conclusions of the concurring and dissenting. So take care, everybody. Thank you all for coming by. I appreciate it so much. And moderators, thank you so much for working so